We're here today with Marie-Luth and Olivia, who are from the Public Academy for Performing Arts, and Elliot, an 8th grader at the Bosque School. Thank you for being here with us today and taking time away from school and your schedules to talk with us about the climate strike and climate change. It's an important conversation, and I'm really excited to be hearing your voices today. So I wanted to start with, why is the climate strike happening this week? Like, what was important about this week?
So I think part of it was on September 23rd, I want to say. Then Greta Thunberg will be speaking to the UN about the climate crisis. So it was kind of focused around that. And then it's on a Friday because that's every Friday she would walk out to talk about, or she would walk out of school for her climate strike. So we tried to plan it around that.
And then we have the week of climate action, and that's because it's the UN Climate Summit this coming week, so that's mostly what it's focused on.
Okay, and what's the response been from students? I remember you had a walkout in May, and you've kind of been building momentum over time. What's the response been from other students, from your teachers, from your schools?
A lot of students are supportive and really want to, but they're afraid to get unexcused absences at school. And I think it's important to tell these people that some things are more important, like the fact that our planet is dying. And then teachers have also been very supportive, but school admin, it kind of varies throughout schools. Some are very supportive, some aren't at all, so it just depends.
Yeah. And then for me in middle school, there's a lot of concern with a lot of my friends can't go because their parents won't let them. They think it might be dangerous. They don't want them going alone, that kind of thing. So,
but it's not going to be a dangerous thing. It's going to be calm and just low key. And even for younger students, we're also going to have a climate fair while we march, just in case people don't feel comfortable marching, even if you are, like, whether you're young or old, just whatever your preference is.
So I feel like your generation is really facing a lot of pretty unique challenges. Why climate change? Like, how did that come to be the issue that you're most interested in and feel like you need to be active on?
I think it's because it's my future. Like, when I was younger, I had my whole life planned out. Like, I knew when I was going to graduate college. I knew what I was going to do. I knew that I was going to have kids. And just the fact that that's all in jeopardy is insane to me, that, like, people still aren't listening to me. Well, I tell them that this is my future. Like, this is my entire lives at stake. And it's just, like, the fact that people, like, when you tell me that you don't, like, care, or you don't, like, that I'm just a kid, like, that's like telling me that my future doesn't matter as much as yours does.
Did you want to talk about it too?
I think I strike for the climate because, like Olivia said, we all lay in bed at night or we daydream in class about our future, you know, this and that. And the thing is, if we don't do anything, that might not happen. And so I think it's a really scary thought to think, but I think that we can do something, and it's been proven that there are solutions, but we're so reluctant to do these because it all depends on money from other industries that are hurting our environment.
Elliot, how did you come to climate activism?
well, I mean, like Marie-Luth and Olivia said, it's a direct threat to my future, and I feel like we've been putting it off for so many years because world leaders have been saying, you know, like, this isn't going to affect my future directly, so it's not something that needs to be on the forefront, and not something we need to be taking action about right now. But it's happening right now. We can't keep looking away from it. We can't put it off because, I mean, it's not going to stop.
Right.
If we
Also related to that, just the people who are affected by climate change the most are the ones that can't do anything about it. And I think that's why a lot of people don't realize like how big of a problem it is already, because it doesn't affect their daily lives. It doesn't affect what they do and how they function. So they don't see it as something that's important because like it's fine, like they don't have to worry about it right now. And obviously they're going to have to worry about it in the future. And the fact that they just don't even care right now while people are dying and being affected and their land is getting taken away is astonishing to me. Just how you couldn't care about other people's lives being at stake.
So your actions this week are part of a global movement, but you have some demands for local officials. Can you talk about what those demands are for officials here in New Mexico?
Yeah, so our first demand is 100% renewable by 2030. And I know it sounds really crazy, but we can do it. Other places have already started doing it, and we have so much sun here that solar power is such a huge advantage for us.
Then we also want the senators to sign on to the Green New Deal, which would really help moving that process along. And then we want a moratorium on fracking in New Mexico, because that's one of the biggest things in New Mexico that affects climate change is our fracking.
And covering all that, we want to just transition so that people don't get left behind. And we use the money from the big oil and gas industries to
So
fund
that would be to
transition.
create economic diversity for people who depend on the oil and gas industry, because there's a huge oil and gas industry in New Mexico. And we know that a lot of people's jobs depend on that and their income. And so this Just Transition Fund would be based off the revenues of those industries and help these people find new jobs in renewable power.
And then this week, you took action at the City Council in Albuquerque. Can you talk a little bit about what happened in the chambers this week?
So students, or actually a lot of different generations, it was really interesting to see that, just spoke up about how we need to pass this and we need to declare this a climate emergency, because that's what it is. It's a climate emergency and we need to act on it now before it's too late.
So one of the things that, like, when I go to lectures or talks or different events, there'll be like a bunch of adults sitting around, talking about climate change, talking about solutions or whatever. And oftentimes, kind of, the adults in the room look around and say, "Where are the young people?" And I've been thinking about this a lot lately. How adults, we kind of expect young people to come to our events to kind of do what we think you all should be doing. What would you like adults, like how should adults be supporting you, and where should we be showing up where you need us?
I think that, like these conferences and stuff, we've proven that if adults have been doing these for a while, but they haven't shown so much moving forward, like they haven't helped very much. So we want adults to ally with us and come help us strike or with all our events. And I think just the power in numbers is a great deal, and the power that we have various generations, and it's not just the young people who support this, because there are people who say, oh, they don't know what they're talking about. And so we do, but still that support from other generations helps a lot.
And then people always told me that my generation needs to be the ones to save the world. And I never believed them. And even if I did, I always believed it would be when I'm in adulthood, like when I'm 25, 30. But right now, like, we don't have time left to do that. And I'm 15 and I'm doing the most I can for my age. But, I can't, like, we can't vote. We can't go and pass these bills. And that's where we really need the support of adults, just to help us, like, pass these and vote and just get out there and really do what we can't.
Like you hear, oh, we're the leaders of tomorrow, but we don't have time to wait for tomorrow. We have to do something today, and we all need to come together to do something, and we can't do that on our own.
So for people who are at home right now, and I think it's an overwhelming issue, we often don't know what to do. Do you have advice or suggestions for somebody who maybe wants to be involved more or wants to have a better impact on the world?
So I think there's a ton of ways you can have an impact in really small ways. And so there's obviously stuff like getting an electric car, but that's not available to everyone. So just supporting people who do those things, or do organize like us, or just come organize with us, or even so do that, and then also show your support. And like last night, City Council voted that to pass a climate resolution, which was great, and there was so much support. And there's things like that that people can come and help with, and just speak your support and tell other people who don't see that, tell them that it is a problem and that they also have to help.
It doesn't always, you don't always need to contribute money or anything. Like, show up at city council meetings, show up to our climate strike events all week. Yeah.
Right. Well,
Sorry. Even just small things, if you can't get out to those events and like you don't have time for that, just reducing your waste and spreading the word to other people through social media and other various ways. It's just so important that everyone is involved in this, because in order to make this happen, then we need everyone, even if it's just in small ways.
right. Well, thank you for being here. Thanks for your hard work.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.